Hi there, high level listeners. Welcome back to another episode of our Advanced Vocabulary podcast here on High Level Listening. This is our YouTube channel where we give you side by side American and British English to take your English to the next level. And today we're going to be talking about unhealthy fast food or junk food.
Yes, that's right. Hello, everyone. My name's Mark, the British voice here on High Level Listening. And together with Kat from the USA, we're going to talk about all that lovely, unhealthy, greasy, oily, delicious food we call fast food or junk food. Like normal, we've each written a script with our thoughts about the subject. And if you like junk food or really, really hate it and avoid it, we've got both sides covered. So even if you don't like this kind of food, after this episode, you'll have something useful to take away.
Yes, absolutely. That's right. And don't forget, if you want to take your studying offline and learn at your own pace, like always, you can get the PDF transcript of this episode and all of our other episodes by becoming a high level listener here on YouTube. You'll click the link in the description below, join us as a member, and you'll get exclusive access to community posts twice a week.
Okay, so like always, we've got our scripts. We'll go through each of our scripts once, then go back up to the start and go through them once more, highlighting all the best high-level vocabulary and expressions all about unhealthy food or junk food. Our scripts this week are quite a bit different. That way you can have something to say about junk food whether you like it or not, and Kat goes first. So, Kat, how much junk food or fast food do you usually eat?
Honestly, I try not to eat too much junk food or fast food, but I do let myself indulge every now and then. I mean, who doesn't, right? It's everywhere. Convenience stores, fast food restaurants, burgers, fries, chips, you name it. There's just something about that instant satisfaction, that hit of salt or sweetness that's so hard to resist sometimes. But yeah, I don't eat it regularly because I usually feel kind of sluggish afterwards. Like all I want to do is crash on the couch. In general, I have been trying to cut back a bit more. I know all that overly processed stuff, preservatives, high sodium, artificial flavors, they aren't doing me any favors. I'll be honest though, I still enjoy a treat every now and then. It's just too good to pass up sometimes. All right, so kind of my general opinion is that I do have some sometimes, but I have been trying to cut back, have been trying to cut down a little bit more because it's not doing us any favors. So let's hear what Mark has to say. Mark, how much junk food and fast food do you usually eat?
I definitely go for a bit of junk food now and then. Fish and chips is just too hard to resist sometimes. There's just something about that crispy batter and salty chips with the vinegar. I don't have it all the time, mind you, maybe a couple of times a month. It's more of a treat, really. But I do also love crisps and the odd kebab. Sometimes you just crave something with a crunch or something with a bit of grease. And sometimes I just want something easy and tasty if I've had a busy day at work. I'll admit, I don't feel amazing afterwards, and sometimes I am just snacky again in an hour, but honestly, I don't think it does too much harm every now and again, as long as I keep it in moderation. Junk food's fun once in a while, just not every day. Okay, so we've both shared our experiences about junk food. How much did you catch from that first round? Don't worry if you didn't understand every single phrase. We'll go back to the start and go through them again. So, back to the beginning, Kat. How often do you eat junk food?
Honestly, I try not to eat too much junk food or fast food, but I do let myself indulge every now and then. Okay, this kind of sounds like a healthy balance, right? I try not to eat too much junk food or fast food, but I do let myself indulge every now and then. So every now and then is kind of in between sometimes and rarely. That's what I kind of think of. So sometimes, occasionally, every now and then. So not that often, not that often. But I do let myself indulge every now and then. So I try not to eat it. I try not to eat too much. I try not to eat it. I try not to eat too much, but I do have some sometimes, right? Now we've got junk food and we've got fast food. What I kind of think of junk food is kind of, those chips and snacks and crispy, crunchy things, sweet and salty that you can probably pick up at a convenience store or at a gas station. That's what I think of as junk food. Now, I think of fast food as a restaurant, something that you can get at McDonald's, something that you can get quick and easy. This is fast food. And usually, like Mark said, it's a bit greasy, it tastes good, but it's probably quite salty and quite fattening as well, right? So honestly, I try not to eat too much junk food or fast food, but I do let myself indulge every now and then. To indulge is basically to enjoy something more luxurious or something that is kind of normally off
Bit
limits,
naughty.
right?
Mhm.
A bit naughty. Yeah, absolutely. So if you indulge in something, you say, okay, fine. I'll have a little bit. Okay, I'm going to indulge just a little bit to make this choice to do something a little bad, right? To indulge. All right. So what about you, Mark? How often do you eat junk food?
I definitely go for a bit of junk food now and then. So I actually used the same phrase as Kat, now and then. And just like Kat said, how often? Now and then is occasionally. So, yes, I know it's bad for me, and we're going to talk about unhealthy, naughty food through this episode. So, we're going to use lots of phrases about food that we know we shouldn't eat too much. So, Kat said indulge, like you would indulge in chocolate or cake, something naughty. The phrase I use is I definitely go for a bit of junk food. I think I would go for something. It also sounds like it's a little bit naughty, it's a treat, or it's something I shouldn't always eat. So if you're at a restaurant, you're like, oh, I could go for a dessert, actually. Like, I know I just ate a massive main meal, but actually, I could go for a dessert. So I know it's a little bit naughty. I know maybe I shouldn't. It wouldn't be the healthy choice, but I could still go for it.
For
So if
it. I
something
think
is
you
kind
should
of,
go for it.
yeah, go for it. If it's going to be fun, even if you know you shouldn't do it, go for it is the phrase. So yeah, I think I'll go for the cheesecake, actually. So yeah, we're going to use lots of phrases like this through this episode. All right, back to you, Kat. Is junk food easy to find where you are?
It's everywhere. Convenience stores, fast food restaurants, burgers, fries, chips, you name it. Okay, so right away, this is probably the same where you live. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. Junk food, fast food, it's everywhere because it's easy, right? And it's easy to pick up. Now, I would say it's cheap, but over the past few years, it's become more and more expensive. It used to be cheap and easy. Now it's easy, but a little bit more expensive. But it's everywhere. Convenience stores, fast food restaurants, burgers, fries, chips, they're everywhere. They're everywhere. You name it. So, convenience stores. When I think of convenience stores, I think of those little shops on the corner, those little stores that have a little bit of everything. They might have a few pieces of fresh fruit, snacks, gum. If you're going to get gas in a gas station in the United States, we have a convenience store, or you can get things at a gas station. And so those are all those little chips and little snacks and gum and anything you need for a little road trip. So it's everywhere. Then we particularly call these fast food restaurants. Fast food restaurants. Think KFC, McDonald's, Burger King. These are fast food restaurants, fast food spots. Burgers, fries, and chips, you name it. You name it. In other words, the list goes on and on. You name it. Now, I do want to make a note here. Mark talked about fish and chips, and I talk about chips, but they're actually
Mm.
quite different. So for Mark, fish and chips would be, for me, fish and potatoes, but potatoes that are cooked and then fried in pieces, right? So I call them fries, and Mark calls them
Hmm.
chips. My chips are potatoes, but they're very thin and they're fried into a crispy, crunchy piece, right? So those for me or potato chips. So, what about you, Mark? What kind of junk food do you like to eat?
Mm. For me, fish and chips is just too hard to resist sometimes. There's just something about that crispy batter and salty chips with vinegar. So, yes, fish and chips is not healthy. You could argue that fish has lots of protein and that's healthy, but the way it's cooked is not healthy. We use a lot of oil, and therefore the calories go up, the fat level goes through the roof very quickly, and it's delicious. And I know it's bad for me, but it's too hard to resist. Again, we're talking about unhealthy food or naughty food. You should look at something delicious and unhealthy and resist. Stop yourself. If you resist something, you don't do it. You turn away. But sometimes it's too hard to resist and you can't stop yourself. Maybe you're buying a sandwich in the shop and then you see a chocolate muffin and you're like, oh, that looks really good. It's too hard to resist. Suddenly it's in your hand. Suddenly it's in your bag. Oh no, I bought it. So you should try and resist these foods, but sometimes it's too hard to resist. I don't know why fish and chips is so delicious. There's just something about when you're describing your favorite food, if there is a specific flavor or taste or texture that's your favorite part, this is the phrase. There's just something about that crispy batter. The crispy batter is the crispy fried pieces on the outside of the fish. That's super delicious. I don't know why it's so delicious, but there's just something about that crispy batter. My second favorite part is the salty chips. Chips in England are fries in the USA. And yes, it's common in England to put a lot of salt or vinegar on the chips. So salt, a little bit's fine, but we put a lot on, so it's extra unhealthy, but it's delicious. There's just something about that crispy batter and salty chips with vinegar that's too hard to resist. All right, so you've mentioned some snacks already. What is it about junk food that you like? What do you like about it?
Oh no, there's just something about that instant satisfaction, that hit of salt or sugar that's so hard to resist sometimes. Mark and I are practically saying the exact same things because I feel the same way, right? So there's just something about it. And what we mean is there's just something special or unique about it, but we're not sure what it is. I don't know. There's just something about it, right? There's just something amazing about it, right? There's just something about that instant satisfaction. Instant satisfaction. Fast food, junk food, it's already prepared. It's pre-packaged, it's ready to go, and you just insert it into your mouth. That's it. And then that first bite, instant satisfaction. You immediately feel, oh, yeah, that's good. Oh, that's good. Oh, that's the most delicious thing I've ever had. That's that instant, right away, instant satisfaction. So once we get that instant satisfaction, we get that hit of salt or sugar. So if you have a sweet tooth and you like desserts and you get that hit of sugar, sugar kind of gives your body some energy, right? And so when you get that hit of sugar or that hit of salt, for me, I'm a savory kind of person. I like savory things. So I kind of like salty things. And man, when I'm craving something salty, that hit of salt, oh, that's exactly what I wanted. That's exactly what I wanted to eat. So I get that instant satisfaction. And it is so hard to resist sometimes. I think I even told my husband the other day, hey, I know you're grocery shopping, but can you get me a burger and fries instead? It's just sometimes it's just so hard to resist. I can't resist it. Now, if it is so hard to resist, Mark, how often do you actually eat fish and chips? How often do you usually eat fast food?
I don't have it all the time, mind you.
Okay.
Maybe a couple of times a month. it's more of a treat, really. So, again, at the very beginning, we said now and then, so occasionally. Another way you can express that is I don't have it all the time, right? I don't do it all the time. I don't eat it all the time. I don't have it all the time. So I don't have fish and chips all the time, mind you. Mind you, this is a phrase you're more likely to hear in the UK. So I don't have it all the time, mind you. Mind you means like, however. So I could say, but I don't have it all the time. It's delicious. I don't have it all the time, mind you. The thing is, mind you always comes at the end. It's like we are thinking and speaking at the same time. Often we say something that's a contrast to what we just said, and we realize that it's a contrast, so we just add mind you at the end. So you might say, oh yeah, the food was delicious. It was expensive, mind you. So, but it was expensive. Anytime you have a contrast, you can say mind you at the end. How often do I have it? Maybe a couple of times a month, so now and then. It's more of a treat, really. So again, we're talking about these unhealthy, naughty foods. Sometimes you want to enjoy something. It is a treat. That naughty food can be something special, a treat. Maybe I've been eating quite healthily over the last few days, so, I deserve a treat. I deserve something special and delicious and tasty, even if it's unhealthy. Like I've earned it, like a present or a reward, a treat. So you might eat dessert at a restaurant and say, oh yes, I fancy a treat, a sweet treat. And for me, if I've been eating healthily or quite well the last few days, fish and chips is a treat. Again, it's something special. I don't have it all the time. It's when I think I deserve it or I think I should have it, and it will be something nice for me, a treat. All right, does fast food or junk food ever make you feel bad after you eat it?
Yeah, I don't eat it regularly because I usually feel kind of sluggish afterward, and it's like all I want to do is crash on the couch. Okay, so here are some of the negative side effects of eating just way too much junk food, way too much fast food. You feel kind of sluggish. You feel kind of sluggish. Now, a slug, a slug is kind of a snail without a home. It's a big, fat, sticky, slow, very slow slug that moves across your garden and eats your flowers and eats your leaves. And if you are feeling kind of sluggish, a little sluggish, then you're moving quite slowly, like a big fat slug. All right. So if you're feeling kind of sluggish, you're not moving very well. You kind of have low energy. So you're just, yeah. Well, I guess I'll just go crash on the couch. Oh man, I'm so full. No, I'm just gonna go crash on the couch. All right, so all I want to do is crash on the couch. Now, I actually said this to a friend the other day. I said, oh yeah, we just crashed when we got home. That means that you just kind of fall asleep or you kind of fall into the couch, right? So if you crash and you go high up in energy and then you have no energy. So if you're going to crash onto the couch or crash on the couch, I'm going to crash. That just means that I have no more energy. I'm going to lay down. I'm going to go to bed. I'm going to fall asleep, right? So I'm just going to crash on the couch. This is why I don't eat it regularly. Again, I eat it every now and then, every now and again. I don't eat it regularly because it's meant to be a treat. It's not meant to be eaten every single day. Otherwise, you start to feel sluggish and all you want to do is crash on the couch. All right. So, with all these negative side effects, Mark, why do we even like junk food?
Yes, but I do also love crisps and the odd kebab. Sometimes you just crave that satisfying crunch or a bit of grease. And sometimes I just want something easy and tasty if I've had a busy day at work. So I've got another phrase where I use a contrast. Last time I said mind you, like however. The first section here is, but I do also love crisps. So in the previous sentence, I said, I only have it now and then as a treat. But my next sentence is, I do also love crisps. So that sounds like I eat crisps a lot or quite often. So that's a contrast with what I've just said.
However,
Yes,
oopsie.
right. And the word I use to make that contrast is do. I think we've mentioned this in previous episodes. I do also love crisps. I don't have them very often, but I do eat them maybe a couple of times a week. So I'm saying two things that are kind of opposites. So you can use
You're
the word
giving
do.
emphasis, right, as
Yes.
well.
Emphasis, I'm kind of confessing or admitting, oh, okay. Like the example I always give, I don't really like avocados, but I do love guacamole. It's like I'm saying two opposite things at once, and I'm aware of it too. So I do also love crisps. Crisps in England are what Americans call chips. So, yeah, that's one of the big
Crispy,
differences that
crunchy.
we love to argue about. Yep. And I do love the odd kebab. Kebabs are a very, very popular fast food. There's lots of Turkish kebab restaurants, especially in the UK. I enjoy the odd kebab. Odd here does not mean strange or unusual. Odd here means the occasional.
Mhm.
So we've been using every now and then, every now and again, regularly, the odd snack, the odd treat, the odd kebab means the kebab that I eat occasionally. So maybe that's once or twice a month. I have the odd kebab, or sometimes at work I'll have the odd muffin. This means that it's not common. I don't usually have it, but I have it occasionally. So the odd kebab, and sometimes you just crave that satisfying crunch or a bit of grease. So again, crave, you probably hear this word more often with smoking and cigarettes, but when you crave something, you feel like you really, really need it. I need it to feel happy. I need it to feel normal. And again, sometimes if you've been eating healthily or well for a few days, you really, really want a certain texture or a flavor that only snacks can give you. When you eat crisps or chips, that satisfying crunch is a really nice texture that you can't get from some healthy foods. So I really crave that satisfying crunch or a bit of grease. Grease, that flavor, is also just really nice. Sometimes I know it's not healthy, and because it's unhealthy, that's why we use crave, because we know we shouldn't have it, but we can't stop. And the last reason I have junk food is because sometimes I just want something easy and tasty if I've had a busy day at work. So, yeah, like Kat said before, fast food is ready very quickly. Sometimes it's already in a bag waiting for you. You just grab it off the shelf. You don't have to cook anything or prepare anything. It's something easy. So, yeah, a lot of the time, that's why I'm too tired to cook a full meal. I just want something easy and tasty. All right. So, Kat, if junk food is delicious and everything, why don't you eat it more often?
Look, in general, I have been trying to cut back. I know all that overly processed stuff, preservatives, high sodium, artificial flavors aren't doing me any favors. All right, so we're continuing to talk about the negatives of unhealthy food, right? The side effects would be that you feel sluggish and you want to crash on the couch. And so here's some other kind of negatives about the food. I know all that overly processed stuff. Some people say overly processed junk. And junk really does have a negative connotation. So when we say stuff, that kind of is just a group of things, right? Here's some stuff. Is this your stuff, right? So all that overly processed stuff. If you really want to make it quite negative, overly processed junk. So you've got overly processed means that the food has gone through some sort of mechanics or has gone through some sort of machine to take the food and to turn it into something different, right? So overly processed, junk. So we got two kind of negative words in there, overly and junk. So overly processed stuff, overly processed junk. So then we've got the word preservatives. Okay. So preservatives are something that helps keep the food from going bad. It helps keep the food more fresh so that you can basically keep it for a longer time. All right. So a lot of extra preservatives, high sodium, high fat. When we use this word high, it means large levels or high levels of, and sodium is simply salt. Okay. One of the biggest reasons why it tastes so good is the high salt levels, the high sodium, the high fat. Then we've got artificial flavors, artificial flavors. So that vanilla ice cream isn't really vanilla. It's not going to be fresh ingredients. It's going to be the taste of vanilla, right? These artificial flavors, something that is artificial is not real or not natural. So you have these artificial flavors, and all of these things aren't doing me any favors. This is a very common way and a very polite way to say they are bad for me. Okay? Yeah, they aren't doing me any favors. A favor is doing something nice or helpful for someone. And if I say, well, these the artificial flavors, the high fat content, the high sodium, yeah, they aren't doing me any favors. Again, very positive way of saying they are bad for me. They're bad for me. So they're not helping me for sure, right? They're not doing me any favors.
I often think if I have a stomach ache and I think about what I ate, I'm like, oh, that curry last night isn't doing me any favors now.
Yep.
Like, it was great yesterday, but now, oh no, I have a tummy
Now it
ache.
hurts me. It's hurting me. Yeah, it's not doing me any favors at all. Why not? Why not? All right. So, Mark, I talked a little bit about the side effects of crashing on the couch and feeling a bit sluggish. Does junk food ever make you feel bad?
I'll admit I don't feel amazing afterwards, and sometimes I am just snacky again in an hour.
That's the worst
So,
part.
yeah, exactly. So, those snacks, especially snacks that come in a small package like crisps or gummies or chocolate, they are not very filling. For a moment, you feel very full. Maybe it's uncomfortable, or I ate too much chocolate. But give it 1 hour or an hour later, you might feel hungry again, but just a little bit hungry. And that feeling is snacky. If I just fancy or I want some snacks, I don't want a full meal, or maybe it's not time for dinner yet. I just feel snacky. I might go to the fridge, open it up, and see if there's any small snacks that I can eat. Or if I'm in a convenience store or a corner shop, I might find some snacks there. So you end up eating two bad, unhealthy snacks instead of just one normal meal. And again, this isn't a great lifestyle to follow, but that's what happens. I don't feel amazing afterwards, so I don't feel very healthy or energized. And sometimes I'm just snacky again in an hour. So I have to eat more snacks to fill my stomach again. So yeah, I get caught in this kind of snacky cycle, which isn't always great. It is a phrase you can use positively or negative. If you are eating somewhere and you only have a small appetite, you're not very hungry, you can say, "Oh, I just feel a bit snacky. I'll just have a starter or just a small course." So yeah, snacky or peckish are two good words for that. All right, so last parts of the script now. Would you ever give up junk food? We know it's bad for us and it doesn't make us feel good. Could you ever just give it up, quit it for good?
Well, so I said in the line before, in general, I have been trying to cut back. I'll be honest though, I still enjoy a treat every now and then. It's too good to pass up sometimes. So, would I ever give it up for good? Well, I mentioned in my script that I have been trying to cut back. And to cut back or to cut down on something is to do it less. But would I give it up for good? Mean, would I stop completely? Would I cut it out completely? No, probably not, because then I would just feel sad. So I'll be honest though, I still enjoy a treat every now and then. Just some junk food, some snack food just makes me happy. If we're gonna go grab a little bit of pizza before a movie, or if we're gonna enjoy some popcorn on a special occasion, or if we're just kind of feeling snacky and we want to go get a burger and fries, I think that's completely fine. It's too good to pass up sometimes. If you pass something up, you can say, "Oh no, I'm okay. No, I'll pass on it this time." So if it's too good to pass up, I can imagine myself walking down the convenience store aisle and thinking, "Oh yeah, that actually does look good." Instead of walking by it, I don't want to pass it up. I'm going to go ahead and take it. And like Mark said, "Oh, how did this get in the shopping cart?
Oopsie.
Oopsie.
Hmm.
Who did that? I don't know. It wasn't me."
I can imagine you also at like a party or something, and there's a birthday cake, and people are cutting slices, and they're like, "Hey,
Uh-huh.
would you like a slice of cake?" And you're
Of
like,
course.
"Ooh, I shouldn't, but it's too good to pass up." Like
I
if
think
someone
birthday
offers it to
cake
you.
calories don't count. I think that's
Oh,
true.
that's
I think
also
that's
true.
actually scientifically proven.
That's fortunate. Yeah, right.
Yeah. All right. So, what do you think, Mark? Do you think in the end, what do you think? Is it good for you? Is it bad for you? Tell me more.
Honestly, I don't think it does too much harm every now and again, as long as I keep it in moderation. Junk food's fun once in a while, just not every day. So, yes, overall, I think it doesn't do too much harm. Harm, the word means damage or maybe have a negative effect on my body and my health. It's an uncountable noun, so it doesn't do too much harm every now and again. So occasionally, if I eat junk food, it doesn't hurt me or harm my health that much. It doesn't do too much harm. I know it does a little bit, but not too much every now and again. As long as, so the rule is, I keep it in moderation. In moderation is more of an official term for having a balanced diet. Like if you eat McDonald's twice a month, that's probably fine. I know the hamburgers are full of grease and preservatives and unhealthy ingredients, but if you have it in moderation, like it's only twice a month or it's not your main diet, it's probably fine. It has some protein in it, so that's good for your body. And this is what doctors will say: enjoy it in moderation. Drinking alcohol in moderation is also fine. Doing some things that are sweet, salty, or unhealthy are fine as long as you don't do it every single day. In moderation. Drink in moderation, eat in moderation. So as long as I keep it in moderation, I don't think it does too much harm. Junk food's fun once in a while. Once in a while is another phrase we have for occasionally. Junk food's fun once in a while, just not every day. So overall, I think if I can keep a balance and keep it in moderation, it's all good.
All right. So, we've come to the end of our scripts, and now we're going to have a quick recap. So, let's hear the key words and phrases from my script once more. Junk food, fast food, let myself indulge in something every now and then, convenience stores, fast food restaurants, you name it, instant satisfaction, that hit of salt or sugar, so hard to resist, kind of sluggish, crash on the couch, trying to cut back, overly processed stuff, preservatives, high sodium, artificial flavors. They aren't doing me any favors. It isn't doing me any favors. a treat, and it's too good to pass up.
And here are the phrases from my script once again. Go for a bit of junk food. Too hard to resist. There's just something about crispy, salty. It's more of a treat. The odd kebab. Crave. Satisfying crunch. A bit of grease. Snacky. I don't think it does too much harm. Keep it in moderation. Once in a while.
All right, so there you have it. Loads of vocabulary and expressions to help you talk about fast food and junk food in high-level English. Now, we want to hear from you guys. How often do you eat fast food or junk food? Do you have a favorite fast food place or maybe a guilty pleasure snack you like to indulge in? Let us know what you think in the comments below. We read and reply to every single comment, so it's a great chance to practice sharing your opinion with us.
Yes, please do. And let us know if you learned any new words or phrases. Tell us which one was your favorite again. Like always, you can join our high-level listening community here on YouTube, and you can get a PDF transcript of this episode to download and take offline. And you can get access to all our other episodes as well if you click the link in the description below.
Thank you so much, everyone. If you really enjoyed our video today, don't forget to like and subscribe to make sure you get our 2 new videos every week. We'll see you soon for a brand new video.
Bye.